Good evening, folks, and welcome back to Raiders Report, your go-to source for all things silver and black. I'm your host, bringing you the latest from the heart of Las Vegas, where the Raiders saga continues to unfold like a classic thriller. Picture this: the iconic black hole of Raider Nation roaring inside Allegiant Stadium, that gleaming dome that's become synonymous with high-stakes drama since the team's move from Oakland in 2020.
But tonight, we're diving into a game that had us all on the edge of our seats, not for the fireworks, but for the frustrations. What happens when a team with a storied legacy of comebacks and grit scrapes by against a reeling opponent? Let's break it down, because the Las Vegas Raiders just gave us some disappointing answers to those burning Week 6 offensive questions in their matchup against the Tennessee Titans. First off, let's set the scene. It was a Sunday showdown where the Raiders emerged victorious, but folks, this win felt more like a sigh of relief than a triumphant roar. They edged out the Titans in a game that exposed cracks in the armor, tying the Denver Broncos for the fewest points scored against Tennessee this season. And get this, the Broncos did that in the opener, while the Raiders faced a Titan squad so battered they fired their head coach the very next day. Yet, here we are, dissecting an offense that struggled to find its rhythm under the bright lights. If you're a die-hard Raider fan, you know this team has overcome worse. Think back to the glory days of the 1970s and 80s, with legends like Ken Stabler and Marcus Allen leading charges to 3 Super Bowl wins. But in 2025, with the AFC West heating up, this performance raises eyebrows. Now, let's rewind to last week. I posed 5 key questions about the Raiders' offense heading into this tilt, and boy, did they respond, or rather, fail to, in ways that have us scratching our heads. Question 1. Is Chip Kelly the problem? Well, he's certainly not the solution right now. The blocking schemes looked disjointed, like a puzzle missing half its pieces. Play sequencing? It made no sense, jumping around without building momentum. And the handling of star running back Ashton Janty? An over-reliance that somehow led to underusage. Confusing, right? Meanwhile, quarterback Geno Smith is in the midst of some of the worst football of his career. The ball isn't hitting the right spots at the right time, and outside of Janty, our rookies are barely making a dent. It's unacceptable for a team that's supposed to be building on its defensive prowess, anchored by beasts like Max Crosby, who's been sacking quarterbacks left and right this season. Speaking of Smith, question 2 hit hard. What can the Raiders do right now to flip the narrative on his tenure? The harsh truth: bench him or overhaul the entire offensive scheme. Even in what was one of his better outings as a Raider, he looked off-kilter. His lone touchdown? It came gift-wrapped after linebacker Devin White strip-sacked Titans QB Cam Ward, spotting the ball at the 2-yard line. And White was only there because Jermaine Pratt's departure shook things up. If that's the recipe for success, relying on defensive heroics and opponent blunders, then we're in trouble, folks. Smith's stats this game: a pedestrian completion rate, some errant throws that had fans groaning. Compare that to his Pro Bowl days with the Seahawks, and it's night and day. Raiders Nation deserves better from the signal caller position, especially after the Derek Carr era brought us close but no cigar in the playoffs. But hey, not all doom and gloom. Question 3. Can Ashton Janty run the Raiders to victory? Absolutely, he can, and he did just that. If not for Janty, we might as well have called it a season and headed home early. This kid, a Heisman hopeful out of Boise State, carried the load with 23 rushes for 75 yards and a touchdown. He was the only Raider in silver and black to post positive rushing yards. In a league where running backs are often overlooked, Janty's burst and vision remind me of the great Bo Jackson, that dual-sport legend who electrified Oakland back in the day. Without him pounding the rock, this win evaporates. It's a testament to the Raiders' draft savvy, snagging a gem like Janty who's already drawing comparisons to Hall of Famers. Shifting gears to the defensive side bleeding into offense. Question 4. Do the Raiders have a quick-fire response to anything Cam Ward does? Turns out, yes, they do. They capitalized on Ward's first turnover, turning it into points, even if it took 3 plays and a net loss of 3 yards from the Titans too. Later, White's interception to close the first half sparked second-half scoring. Sure, Ward was struggling, and the Titans are in full dumpster fire mode, but credit where it's due. The Raiders' D, with its hard-hitting line featuring Crosby and company, forced those opportunities. It's that classic Raider identity: opportunistic, relentless, like the days when Howie Long and the crew terrorized offenses in the 80s. Finally, question 5. When the Titans hand the Raiders the alley to victory, can they walk that rocky path? Walk. That's generous. I'd say they crawled, scooted, or limped their way through. It was an ugly performance, with few positives amid the same old issues. The offense sputtered, penalties piled up, and execution faltered. Yet, they won against one of the NFL's worst teams. It's a mixed bag, reminiscent of the Raiders' turbulent years post-Super Bowl XXXVII loss in 2003, when rebuilds tested fan loyalty. Let's add some layers here with historical context. The Raiders, born in Oakland in 1960 as part of the AFL, have always embodied rebellion. The pirate logo, the "Just Win" baby mantra from Al Davis. Their move to Vegas in 2020 brought glitz but also challenges, like adapting to the desert heat and building chemistry. Statistically, this season's offense ranks near the bottom in yards per play, a far cry from the 2021 squad that made the playoffs under Carr and Davante Adams' dynamic duo. Adams, by the way, has been a bright spot when healthy, but injuries have hampered the receiving core. Compare Janty's output to past greats. His 75 yards pale next to Marcus Allen's 191-yard Super Bowl XVIII explosion, but in a struggling unit, it's gold. And defensively, Crosby's sack totals are on pace to rival Khalil Mack's franchise records. But offensively, we're seeing echoes of the 2018 season, when poor QB play and coaching missteps led to a 4-12 finish. To bring this to life, imagine I caught up with some folks post-game. Raiders head coach Antonio Pierce, channeling his inner tough guy from his playing days, might say something like, "Look, we're grinding every day. Gino's got the tools, but we need to protect him better and scheme smarter. Janty, kid's a beast, reminds me of the old-school runners who carried teams on their backs." Or picture Ashton Janty himself, mic'd up, "Man, it's all about the team. I just keep my head down, hit the holes my line opens. Raider Nation's energy? That's what fuels me. Let's build on this." Even a fictional fan interview from the Black Hole, "We've seen worse, like the Jamarcus Russell era. But come on, bench Gino if needed. We're loyal, but we want wins." Expert opinion. I'd tap a retired Raider like Tim Brown. This offense needs identity. Back in my day, we aired it out with Gannon. Now, lean on that D and let Janty eat. Looking ahead, what does this mean? The win keeps the Raiders at .500-ish, but in the brutal AFC West, where Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs loom like perennial bosses, and Justin Herbert's Chargers charge hard, every game counts. Predictions: if they don't address the QB woes, maybe trade for a veteran or promote a backup, this could derail playoff hopes. But with Janty emerging and the defense clicking, I see them sneaking into the wild card if they split divisional games. Implications: a shaky offense might force draft focus on linemen or a new signal caller in 2026. And don't sleep on rivalries. The next Chiefs matchup? That's must-see TV, harking back to those epic 70s battles. Wrapping this up, Raider Nation, stay passionate. This team's got heart, history, and that Vegas flair. Think pop culture ties like Ice Cube repping the silver and black or the stadium hosting mega events. What an unbelievable journey it's been, from Oakland roots to Sin City lights. Tune in next week as we preview the Broncos clash. Will the offense rebound? Grab your gear, rally the crew, and remember, commitment to excellence. Until then, this is your Raiders Report signing off. Go Raiders!